Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to the Pranzata Podcast. This is your host, Andrea Pranzatelli. This is episode number 132 on the Pranzata Podcast on YouTube. We have an in-person guest today. I have Davey Bo here today. I was trying really hard not to say David Bowie. It was like, in my mind, I'm like, David Bowie. No, Davey Bo. Now, Davey Bo is a stand-up comedian from Philadelphia. I have some questions for him today, totally unrelated to stand-up comedy. He's in for a little bit of a ride on the Pranzata Podcast here. Before we get into it, if you guys enjoy what you hear today, please don't forget to hit subscribe. It is my mission to make this a full-time career, and your support helps more than you can know. Okay, so let me explain what this episode is about to the listeners and to you. So I recently, as in yesterday, and finished watching it this morning, I watched a documentary on Netflix called Ashley Madison. Have you heard of this before?
No,
okay, so let me explain it.
I don't even have Netflix, so this is great.
Okay, so the documentary was called Ashley Madison, Sex, Lies, and Scandal. To explain what this is, and to listeners, if you haven't seen it, Ashley Madison was a website. It was a dating website / app that eventually became an app. And I believe it was launched originally in 2001. And it was a dating site designed for married people looking to have affairs. So now what the documentary is about is in 2015, there were some cybersecurity issues where hackers hacked into the account and they discovered like millions and millions of married people's data and released it to the public. So obviously for like many different reasons, there's just a lot here. So the first question I have for you, and I'm just going to bounce these questions off of you. Okay. The creators of the website got a lot of criticism for offering a morally unacceptable service. However, their pushback was to say that cheating is going to happen regardless. They're not responsible for cheating. They just see a market value in something that's just going to happen anyways. What do you think about that?
I mean, one, I don't like cheating, but I get it. Like I
you really look like you love to talk about cheating. Yeah.
No, I've never done it. I've never actually had it happen to me, thankfully. But I don't agree with it. But there's worse things you could be doing to make money. So you don't think it's a bad idea for someone to, because you can like think about that with so many other things, like not just this website. That's where I'm like, this is an interesting question, because it's like, okay, for example, cigarettes. Yeah. Is it immoral to sell cigarettes? Yeah,
you know
I get. You
see what I'm saying?
I get exactly what you're saying. Yeah. I mean, what's morality? I mean, it's whose morals are we talking about? Okay, now here's a follow-up question.
Do you think it's morally wrong to work for a company that you find immoral? So like, for example, if you got a job offer, if you thought cheating was immoral and you got a job offer at Ashley Madison, but you had nothing to do with like any of the scandal stuff, you were just
writing code,
taking data.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Would you work for a job like that?
Where am I in life? You know, like if I'm hurting and I need a job, yeah, I'm going to take the job. You got to feed yourself. But if I'm in a place where I don't need it, no, I'm not gonna go for it.
I think that's a good answer, because I was thinking about that myself, because my first instinct was to be like, you're a piece of shit if you work there. But then I thought about it. I'm like, wait, people work for Amazon. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
People work for, and it's not to like knock the whole pharmaceutical company, but people sell pharmaceuticals and they call it selling your soul in advertising. Like that's the one thing. So it's like everyone has a price, but if I didn't need if I wasn't on dire straits, I would definitely not do it. But
that's a really good point, because it's like, I think that's a good answer. It's like, it depends if you have enough money to be moral, if that makes sense. Because it's like, I would never misjudge somebody working for like a Walmart or an Amazon, because I'm like, they need to make a living. Like they need to find work.
I don't knock many people for their profession. Like I grew up kind of seeing the drug trade in person. So like I'm somebody who understands that sometimes things happen to get you to a place that you have to do things you don't want to do. Yeah. So it's always circumstance. Now there are some people who might be like, oh, that's cool, I like that idea. I'll take the job just for that. But there's plenty of people working jobs because along the way things happen that they had to end up doing that. So
yeah. And and it kind of makes you think like corruption exists in so many different jobs. Like you just said, pharmaceutical companies, right? On one hand, you're saving people's lives. On other hand, depending on how you think about it, if you're selling medicine, you could be saving people's lives, but you could also be like ripping people off or
like the Oxycontin situation. Like take that for example, when they were just pushing all of that on people. Yeah. Because the profits were huge.
So they were interviewing all the different people involved in the scandals. They were interviewing the people who got cheated on and everything. So there was this one woman where her husband got caught. And she forgave him. And her response was, I thought this was really interesting. So she picked up a quote from the Bible, and I think her husband was a pastor. And she said that, she said in response to a woman in the Bible who got caught cheating, what she quoted was, Jesus said, and I'm not a religious person, but I still think what she said, was interesting. She said that in the Bible, Jesus said, whoever didn't sin in this situation casts the first stone. She's like, however, in this present day situation, we're all sinners in this because yes, these people cheated, but we're all like the people who are shaming them publicly, like online. And like that even like harkens back to like what's happening harkens forward, I guess you could say, to what's happening today with like cancel culture and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, they were bad for what they did, but the people who are publicly shaming them and releasing the data and all that, they're sinners too. So like no one cast a stone because we're all messed up in this situation. So now my question, it makes me think is, do you think what do you think about shaming? Because I have a hot take that I think that shame is a good thing.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Yeah. Well, now when you're saying shaming, do you mean like a person? Like, because like I can just go to the nth degree and be like, well, like people who hurt children, shame the hell out of them and things like that.
Or like modern day examples. So if you want a specific example, the Louis C.K. situation.
Okay.
Right. So he did something that a lot of women found unacceptable. Is it okay to shame him publicly about that?
I mean, yeah, freedom. You could say whatever the hell you want, right? But we all have skeletons in our closet. So if you're going to do some shaming, chances are karma's going to get you back at some point. If you're not a good person that's doing it. Yeah. But like there's some people who, I don't know, like people who are very religious and things and think that their faith and their opinion matters more than others. They're going to chime up about like the Ashley Madison stuff because they're like, no, it's a marriage. It's between a man and woman. You're not supposed to go outside of it. Yeah. But meanwhile, they're doing shit at their house and like treating people bad and stuff like that.
They could be like doing things in other ways. Yeah.
I think shame is good for people who deserve it because there are people who definitely deserve it. Yeah.
Or maybe there should be a stop to it at some point. It's like, hey, shame somebody. If the majority of the public thinks that somebody's doing something that is unacceptable to most people, maybe shame them initially so that they can society could basically say, hey, we don't approve of this behavior, but don't shame them eternally.
Yeah, you got to, because people learn, like you're not the same person you were yesterday. Yeah. I mean, there are heinous people that have done things. It's like, all right, I can't really help. Like you're not going to dig yourself out of that hole, but people make mistakes. Now to shame people cheating, I don't know where their marriage was at that time. Like I don't know what the circumstance that was involved. Some of these people that were cheating probably had bad wives. Like you can't. I'm a firm believer. Just break up with the person. Yeah. But a divorce is super expensive, and some of these guys had a lot of money that were, from what I remember, right? Like they were affluent because you have to pay a membership and stuff. Yeah. So it's the initial shame is good because it lets you know like you did fuck up. But like after a while, if no one's hurt physically, like all that stuff, kind of got to move on. Like
I thought what that lady said, like I'm not like a super religious person, but I thought she made a good point regardless, like saying like, hey, we're all sinners in this, like
judge not, let he be judged. Like you can't I try not to judge people, but we all do. But it's like as you're doing it, you have your secrets and the things that you've done where you're like, that I didn't really like that I did that. Yeah. So No, it's judging is a way to just make yourself feel better about the things you've done. I believe. Because you're putting yourself above whoever that person is.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. It's like, look, like it's almost like everybody gets excited about these like scandals going public because it's like, look, like they're not I'm not the one fucking up. They are, you know.
Because I initially every time I see something like that, I initially hate the person that's in trouble.
Yeah.
And that's like the narrative that you read, and that's what they want you to do. But then after a while, it's like, all right, well, I'm not in that situation, so I can't.
Yeah.
Like there's people I've disliked because of a scandal or something.
Yeah.
But because I never read the facts, I just read the headline, and then later when I read the facts, I was like, ooh, I kind of gave them a hard judgment without knowing. So yeah.
There's a lot of that going on with like the presidential debate stuff. Like the presidential election, there's a lot of like talk about that with, I mean, we don't have to get into politics, that's a whole nother thing, but there's a lot of talk about that with the Donald Trump stuff and everything like that. Like I know a lot of people on both sides of the political spectrum, and I know that the Trump supporters are like, hey, we should be looking at policies, not Trump's sexual history, etc.
It's a tough thing because you look at Donald Trump, the president minus all the outside stuff.
Yeah.
He wasn't the worst. I'm not the most political, but like he did good things as a president, right? He's
totally unrelated to his personal life.
Like his presidency, right? But he did fucked up things. But if he wasn't as polarizing as he was, I think he gets a pass. The things he says and the rhetoric that he does and things like that. But like it's again, you think about judging people, right? The religious right, they stand by their Bibles and stuff like that. And he might be the most amoral. Well, I don't think there's been a moral president. Very few of them, but he's top amoral president who's ever been. Like when he got questioned about when he was holding the Bible in front of, I think the Library of Congress during the Black Lives Matter protest, and they were like, "Is that your Bible?" And he was like, "This is a Bible." And it's like, "Oh, that guy, come on, man! Like that guy doesn't give a fuck. He knows how to use people." So, I kind of rambled again, and I apologize.
No, you're good. You don't have to. You don't have to. Rambling's totally okay. This is a podcast. Okay, so, all right. Here's another one. I feel so bad. I'm just like my first time meeting, and I'm throwing you all these like intense questions.
That's all good.
Do you agree or disagree with this statement? Because this was another thing that came up in the documentary. So some of the people who were interviewed in the documentary said, and I'm paraphrasing, but more or less they said, men are hardwired in their DNA to seek out sexual novelty. Therefore, they're not responsible for their behaviors on the website because really the website manipulated addictive tendencies in men.
Damn, I want whoever that PR person is. That's beautiful. No, I mean, you make the decision. I mean, think about it with dating apps, right? Like we all get on them. Yeah. And at first you're like, I'll just check it out. Then after a while, like you're on, like it's just another app that you're on. So I get that. So there's an addictive tendency to screens and shit like that. So I understand that.
Literally this got me thinking about my relationship with my phone, like literally what you just said. Because at first I'm like, that's so fucking stupid. Like what the fuck? And then I thought about it and my mind kept going back and forth about like my relationship with my iPhone. I'm like, wait a second. I'm like, I'm talking shit, but at the same time, I do complain that this phone is responsible for my addiction. Yeah. So it kind of made me take a step back, and I'm like, wait a second, I have to be responsible for my relationship with my phone. Yeah. Even though somebody created this phone with the intention of us to be like,
it's everything in it is to keep you on it. So yeah.
So it's like. There's something fighting against us in that way, and you can make that same argument that they were saying about the website. It's like, this website was designed to like pull the addictive sexual nature out of men. But at the end of the day, it's like we have to take self-control even over our behaviors.
Yeah, it starts. You know? Yeah, it's like when you're trying to give something up, you got to start at the micro level. You got to put your phone down, but you have everything on that phone that like you have to call people, you have to text people, like. And if you are not on that thing, then you're disconnected from the whole world. Like I don't have a phone technically because I'm on Wi-Fi. Like,
so okay, do you mind? You said it's a
no, yeah, no, I'm broke.
Do you mind?
So,
it's because you're broke.
Yeah, so like I moved in the middle of the summer, and then I couldn't. So I don't have a cell phone right now. I have the phone, but I don't have a cell phone provider. Okay. So I just stopped paying the bill. It's actually been kind of liberating because I'm not like when I'm taking walks, I'm not checking it, so I'm like walking around. But it's one of those things that I realized how addicted I was to my phone now that I don't use it. Because when I do have Wi-Fi, I am on it. Like I can't get off of it at all. And it's like, all right, well, I got to figure that out. But yeah, I had to text Adriel before I left because I had to let you know, like, if I get there and you don't know I'm here, this is going to be an awkward situation. So,
okay. You were saying before that you quit drinking. Do you mind if I ask you about that?
You can ask me anything.
How did you quit drinking? Did you do a 12-step program?
No, I just stopped. Like, and it's not to make myself sound like I just, the full transparency of it was, I was in a relationship for a bit and then I had to go, she's Eastern European. So I went to a party. I went to a club with an Eastern European club, and I don't like clubs at all, even when I was drinking. So, and I suffer from anxiety and depression, PTSD. Mm-hmm. So when I got there, I just started slamming like tequila and white wine, no chaser. And by the end of the night, somebody said something about my anxiety, and it like all the chaos kicked in. Like I just got really defensive, and then started arguing with people, and then I pushed some guy. And when I woke up the next morning, I remember trying to laugh it all off, but inside I was like, this is bad. Like this way, it's not the first time I've done things like that. So she ended up breaking up with me. And it was through all that I was like, oh, if I keep drinking, these things are just going to keep happening. So that's what I've been going off of. I've not done a 12-step program. I like, my father's sober, so I talked to him a lot about it and actually brought us really close. But it's one of those things that I know if I take a drink, it's curtain. Like it's just, I'm going to repeat the same thing. So it's been about 10 months now. So it's.
Did you get like when you drank, you just kept drinking lots?
I couldn't stop. Like, and I'm not a drug. Like I'll smoke weed, and like I do still smoke weed, but like I've never done hard drugs. I've never done like cocaine or anything like that. So I was just I went 0 to 60. One of my friends told me, they're like, you're the best person to have 3 to 4 drinks with. Anything after that, it's bad. Because I would just get like sad. I wasn't a fighter as much as I was just like a shit stirrer. And then I knew how to de-escalate fairly quick or just leave. But I would it was just, a lot of it was just anxiety. And I would drink because I'm nervous. Now it's like, I know you're supposed to be. Like you have to feel things. So, but and then it'd all come back up at the end of the night. And then trouble would happen. It's
really interesting how like getting drunk affects certain people, because you said after a certain amount of drinks you would act up or start arguments with people or fights with people. I'm somebody who I don't drink anymore either, and it's more just for like fitness reasons. It's not like even that I had a problem with it. It's just that I got into the fitness stuff. But when I used to drink in my like younger 20s, because I also worked in, you said you worked in the restaurant industry. I worked in it too. And like, I feel like drinking just comes with the package of working in the restaurant industry.
I worked in restaurants and was in the Navy. So it was like, there's zero chance that I was ever going to learn how to drink properly.
Yeah.
So,
but like, it's super interesting how you said it affected you that way. Cause like for me personally, when I would get drunk, like when I worked in the restaurant industry and I would go out to the bars and stuff, I would just black out. Like I wouldn't do anything. Like I didn't have any behaviors. Like after a certain point, my body was like, okay, you drank too much. You're blacked out drunk. And that's how it would affect me. But I remember I dated somebody who had an alcohol issue. And like, if my parents are listening to this episode, they can attest to this because it happened on a family vacation. When he would drink, he would just like become a different human. Yeah, like he wouldn't black out. I mean, he might be blacked out in the sense that he couldn't remember what he did, but he would, like I would black out and just like go to sleep. Like he would black out and he would act like an alien species. Like I can't even explain it. Like he would start mumbling different words. Like it was very bizarre.
Yeah. It's not meant for some people. Like it really isn't. It's just like my father's an alcoholic. He's been sober for 30 years. It's in the genes. Yeah. So, but yeah, like I can attest that not maybe like you knew what I was saying when I was drinking because I needed to prove a point. Yeah. And that was like the worst. I would argue with like girlfriend's family members, and
yeah.
But it was just more like that was the only time I felt confident enough to stand up for myself, and there was nothing I was standing up for, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Is it hard, since you're a comedian, is it hard to be around the comedy scene and not drink?
No.
Why is it easy, like, to not pick up a drink?
Because I watch everybody else do it. I've worked in restaurants my whole life, so I'm used to seeing it behind the window, right? Like, I'm used to just watching people be that way. But it like reaffirms why I don't like drinking. Like, I watch people, and like, it's not every night that I'm out, but like, see some people throwing a load, I'm like, I don't miss that. Like, but it's a humbling experience of like, all right, you don't need it anymore. So it's like it's a test that I don't have to study for, because I ace it every time. Like, who's to say what tomorrow's going to bring? But like I said before, with drinking for me, it was like I know where it brings me, and I don't ever want to go back there. So
also, there's a lot of stand-up comedians who also, I feel like,
a ton quit drinking.
Drinking. So it's not like every comedian is out getting drunk. And while some are, you'll probably find like a lot of companions. I don't know whatever you want to call it. Companionship, I guess, like in the stand-up comedy community of other comedians who are like going out and not drinking.
Yeah, it made it very easy. Well, I shouldn't say very easy. Every now and then I'll be like, oh, I could go for a glass of red wine. That was my favorite. But can
you do non-alcoholic beer, or would that trigger?
No, I don't. I had a non-alcoholic beer when I hit 6 months, and it just triggered like it was like I had all the taste of it, and then not the thing I liked the most about it, which was getting drunk. Like, I loved getting like hammered. It wasn't like, oh, this is a nice buzz. It's like, now you go hard.
I actually like alcohol for the taste of alcohol. People think I'm crazy for that. I'm like, I actually like the taste of beer, like just for the taste of it. And I get so mad when like certain bars don't sell non-alcoholic beer, because I'm like, oh, like you would make so much money off of me if you did, but now there's nothing I could drink here, because like I don't drink soda or anything like that. So
I wasn't a beer drinker like that, and I don't like mocktails. It's also, just give me a water. Like that's the easier, and it's cheaper. But no, I didn't. I loved red wine though. Like, I couldn't. Yeah. Every like getting out of the restaurant, like I would smell red wine, and that would take me to not like I need it right now, but more of like we had some good times. Yeah.
All right. I have a couple more questions on here for you. Okay. Agree or disagree with this statement? I don't want to say arguing, but me and my friend were debating back and forth about it. Me and one of my female friends. She disagreed with me. I think that sexual chemistry is one of the top priorities in a relationship. And that sounds psychotic, but let me back that up with, I'm not saying that the other things don't matter. I'm just saying if that's not there first and foremost from the beginning, I'm not even going to bother. Like it starts with the sexual chemistry, and then you check if everything else afterwards aligns. And she's like, my friend was like, no, you can start to become sexually attracted to somebody based on their personality traits. That can come later on. What do you think about that?
That's a good question. So, there has to be a sexual chemistry. Like, there's no, but that's me, right? So your friend just has a different way of thinking
of going about it.
Yeah. But like, if because I enjoy that. So if I'm not enjoying it, then it's going to be hard to want to be with the person longer. Because it's like, if it's not going to get better, I can't change it. So
that was one of my arguments about the, like, I'm like, yeah, people need to be sexually attracted to each other because there's millions of people subscribed to a website. Well, mostly men, but there's millions of people subscribed to a website to have extramarital affairs because they are not sexually satisfied in the relationships. So to me, it's like, I agree. Like, I think like that has to be there from the beginning, but I guess there's no right or wrong way of doing it. I guess what my friend was saying is that you can grow that sexual chemistry later. It doesn't have to start from the jump, but, and she had a good point though. She also said that But even if you're sexually attracted to somebody from the beginning, the type of person to cheat would do that on somebody they're sexually attracted to, because it's about the novelty regardless. So like you could be dating a 10 out of 10, the hottest woman you've ever seen. Eventually you're going to be curious about something else. You might even date a woman you might cheat on a 10 out of 10 woman with someone uglier just because it's a different thing.
It's the thrill.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like the thrill of the chase. I mean, I've had that like where, I mean, it's like a weird thing to say, but I lost like 80 pounds over the pandemic.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So like I went from being somebody who, I think I don't like saying it like this, but I went from being somebody who like had to chase women because I wasn't confident and I was heavier and I just whatever. I wasn't taking care of myself. So now being on this side of things,
you're not sounding arrogant. Yeah. Don't worry about it.
It's just a funny thing. It's a funny problem to have. Getting attractive, I guess you could say. But it also happened when I became more into who I am.
Confident.
Yeah. So I found myself. It's weird for me to date right now because I'm not chasing. Like it's kind of like they want to be with me. Like I don't have to impress them as much as I did in the past, and I still have that like those weird tics that I have to do a lot more than I really do. It's weird. It's a weird thing to talk about.
Okay, now I'm curious about this. This wasn't in the questions, but I'm like genuinely curious. So someone who went from losing 80 pounds, I would imagine you must have been pretty heavy before then, because 80 pounds is a lot of weight to lose. Did it take you a while to let it sink in your head that you were thinner? Like, did you still have fat?
I feel fat mentality.
Inside.
Yeah, like on the inside, So when I lost the weight, I had real long hair, a very long beard. I looked like Tormund from Game of Thrones.
So you had long hair when you were heavy? When
I lost the weight. Like, so I grew my hair out as I was losing the weight. Right?
I thought you meant like you always had it that way. Okay.
So like I hid behind my beard for a long time.
Yeah.
And then when I finally cut my hair, I was like, oh shit, like I have a jawline, which is something I've never had before. But like I knew I looked a lot better. Like I looked good and I felt good about myself. On the inside, if I like when I'm around people, I still feel very insecure, very not the outer appearance doesn't match what I feel on the inside.
I can relate to that, actually, believe it or not. I was never heavy, but I wasn't a popular kid in high school at all.
I'm a redhead, so like I had braces in high school. Like I just was always the awkward. I would try to buy clothes that looked cool, but they never fit properly. Grew up poor, so like everything was a knockoff or on sale. So it's just there's so much insecurity coming from all of that into a relationship. But in a weird way, it's good because it like I'm not like dating around and fucking around and this and that.
You're not.
It keeps me. And another thing, like, thank God I'm not drinking anymore because single and like I don't know.
How old are you, if you don't mind me
36.
asking? Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I don't know, like not having confidence as an unattractive person and drinking and going up to people.
Yeah.
I would just be a buffoon probably these days if I tried it. But no, it's weird. It's a great problem to have at this point, but it's fun to navigate and figure out. I'm learning how to be attractive. I don't know. It's weird.
No, I totally like I'm a late bloomer in the sense that I'm not saying like, oh, I'm so hot, because like now I'm feeling the same like shame about it that you did. You're like, I don't want to sound arrogant. Like now I don't want to sound arrogant either, but I can tell by the way like men react to me now versus the way men reacted to me in high school that I'm like, okay, like I'm not going to say anything about myself. I'm just basing this off the data of like what people are giving me.
Do you remember like one of the first times you got like checked out and you knew you were getting checked out? Like when you lost the weight, like you knew it was a different one?
For me, it wasn't weight loss. It was just, believe it or not, it was like, it was not weight loss. It was
tone?
No, it was being confident in my body shape, because when I was in high school, like now, like curvy girls are in style and I have like more of a curvy physique, but in high school, skinny girls were in style. So I was like always ashamed of my body and I always like covered up with big sweaters and like I was very awkward. I didn't know how to like dress. So like I know exactly. I just didn't know that like like all the cool popular girls were like very skinny.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh my God, I'm disgusted. Like I thought I was so, like I was like this size and I thought I was so fat. And I would cover up my body. And now like all of a sudden, I guess like the Kim Kardashian era or whatever, all of a sudden curvy girls are in style. And I'm like, I could have liked myself this whole time. Like what the fuck? Like, so now I'm like more confident and accepting of myself. And I dress like I dress differently. I like put on makeup. Like I was always kind of like a tomboy in high school. And I'm like, okay, people are starting to notice me now. I don't think it was like the first time. I think I started noticing the guys I dated got attracted. Like you're like, when did you first notice? I noticed that the guys I actually started going out with started becoming more attractive, and I was like, oh, okay, like things are changing in my life.
Yeah, I had two things. I remember I was walking up the street.
Yeah. And
there was a very pretty lady who was walking towards me, but there was one of those driveway mirrors. Yeah. Like I could, like you can see yourself, but it's like rounded. And I walked past her and I looked into that mirror and I saw her turn around and check me out. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm in a different tax bracket pretty much. Yeah. And then around the same time, I went on a date with a girl and she was very nice, very sweet. But it was the first time I was ever on a date. And I was like, oh, I'm out of her league. Like because she was nervous. It was like it was awkward. And man, I feel bad. But it was like the only date in my life I was like, oh man, I'm tired. I gotta go early today. And my buddy was bartending and he looked at me, he's like, man, you look tired. And I was like, thank you so much. But yeah, I felt off. I paid for everything. I was like, I'm just not feeling
So do you do dating apps now? Is that what you do?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, it's like they're there and it's something to go on. But yeah, I'm not like paying for anything. I'm just...
I tried, like, I'm not like putting too much energy in dating or anything right now, but I think at one point last year, I did try to like experiment with it. Not last year, like literally like 3 or like 4 months ago, I want to say. I tried to experiment a little bit with going on a dating app. And that's what I found was like, you got a certain amount of swipes and then you had to pay to get more. And I'm like, I feel like they're not showing me the cute guys. Like they want me to.
All right, yeah. You want to get in a dating app theory? Yeah. When you first start, everyone's attractive, right? Because they want you to stay on it, and then you swipe like 3 or 4 that are probably bots, and then next thing you know, you're like, I wouldn't. No, like never. Yeah. That person.
By the way, that was also on the Ashley Madison website. So that was another part of the scandal is that most of the men on the website were men. Most of the men, most of the people on the website were men. So they had all these bots.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we could say that's scandalous, but that's probably exactly what's happening right now.
Yeah. But I mean, like I sometimes you match with somebody on these apps. The next thing I know, I'm just having a nice conversation with somebody. Yeah. So like I'm single, I have roommates and stuff and I have friends, but there's like this weird, I know I'm never going to meet the person, but it's a conversation. So it kind of,
with the bot, like you have
not with a bot, no, with like a person. Yeah,
sometimes these bots are good conversational.
Like, I don't know if you ever heard of Manti Te'o, the football player whose girlfriend, he played for the University of Notre Dame, and around the national title game, his girlfriend died. And it was like this really sad thing. Come to find out, his girlfriend never existed. Someone made this whole person up that he met like online. Yeah. And that's a documentary you should check out next.
Oh my God. Is that a real documentary?
Yeah, it's on Netflix, I believe. But yeah, he's a successful analyst today. He played in the NFL, but yeah, he went through this like you want to talk about shame. That guy got shamed for just being a nice guy who was gullible. Like he didn't do anything wrong. And I think like his dad or someone in his family had passed away right around the same time. Yeah. So it was just like a rough few weeks for that guy. Wow. But he was like a laughing stock of the nation.
So he never even met the girl? Like
No, it was all online. It was like getting catfished.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's sad.
It's insane. Yeah, he
was an athlete though.
Yeah,
he's probably hot enough to get like whatever.
Yeah, but I mean, hot? But yeah, you could be as hot as you want, but if you're awkward, you're awkward. Like
he was socially awkward.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I would assume so. I mean, I don't know, but yeah, he's from Hawaii. Played in Notre Dame, which is in Indiana, and I think his girlfriend, quote unquote, was I forget where she was, but yeah, like it was a whole. and he was a kid. He's like 21 years old.
Oh wow.
And
it's
adults are just shitting on this guy, and it's like, no man, like.
See, now that, okay, if we're talking this, like, this does go back to the shame. That's not a shame that was deserving, because he didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, nothing at all wrong.
He didn't do anything immoral.
Yeah.
He just had an online relationship. He thought it was a real relationship. He wasn't cheating. Like, there's none of that going on. So I don't think that person should be shamed. Like, that's ridiculous.
I mean, and like all the late night shows, like he was the joke, and he battled through it. And
so was it a dating website?
I don't know how they met. I think it was like MySpace era.
Okay.
So, because he retired a year or two ago, and he was in the league for like 7 years. So this was probably 2015.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit before, but it was I don't know if it was a dating app. It may have been a Tinder thing, but I don't know if Tinder was around at that point. So I think it was like a MySpace, Facebook type deal.
Huh.
Yeah. There is a documentary though. I know that for a fact. I just don't know.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah.
I need to start watching more documentaries, because like all week long I'm like, what am I going to talk about on this week's episode? And then I watched one documentary. I'm like, all right, I have like 10 questions now.
Yeah.
So I'm like if I just keep,
well,
it's interesting as a stand-up comedian, you have to keep yourself mentally sharp. As a podcaster, I have to like have interesting things to say. So like I'm just realizing now that documentaries is a great reading. Like I do a lot of reading, and documentaries are also a great way for me to like have things in my brain to talk about.
Yeah.
Otherwise I would just keep like repeating the same themes.
Yeah. I didn't really start. I'm 36. And I didn't start really reading until I was 33. And I can tell just the way I speak is a lot different. Yeah. Just from reading more, and especially with stand up, it helps writing, because you're seeing how other people write all the time.
Yeah.
And if you are a writer, if you've not read it, there's a book on writing by Stephen King. It's like his autobiography. It's awesome. It's for anyone who's like trying to figure out how to write.
Yeah.
If you're not going to a class, that's a really good pickup. I love that book.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And it really when you see the way other people do things, and also when you're when you read things that you're not familiar with, it's fun, because you're like, I'm actually learning something. This is
that's what it is. I'm trying to push myself to watch or read things that I wouldn't normally gravitate to, because I notice myself, like, it's interesting, like YouTube has the algorithm thing. So I notice I catch myself on YouTube watching like the same themes over and over, because like the more you watch something, it just keeps sending you an algorithm of all that thing. So I'm like, how many times do I need to like watch fungus or like
I might have the weirdest algorithm all time. It's like Alan Watts and the Taoist philosophy, and then professional wrestling highlights. I'm like, I don't.
It's also easy to change your algorithm fast. I've noticed that too. Like if I just watch like 3 or 4 videos, like all of a sudden my algorithm will change really, really fast.
Oh yeah. Just watch like 5 or 6 puppy videos, and then
the puppy videos will come.
Yeah, I remember like I had COVID back in 2022, right? New Year's 2022, and it's like the algorithm knew I was sad, because like I was just getting hopecore constantly, or like there was like this little girl.
I love hopecore.
Yeah, I get hype on it. But then there was like this like video of this like little girl, and it was like Christmas time. She's like she's like, "Hi, I hope you're having a good day." And I'm like, I'm gonna fucking, what the hell is going on? Like I'm getting manipulated by my algorithm, like, and it's catching me as I'm just sad alone with COVID. But it worked, I guess. But it's weird how it just picks up on it. But
yeah, right now I'm getting too much political stuff in my algorithm. Because
you could change that.
How do you do that?
Sorry, you can block political ads. Really? I pretty much am ad.
It's not ads. It's actually like just YouTube like political commentators. Ooh, yeah. Because when I was watching the way back when the first, not way back, it sounds like it's a long time ago, but it was literally just like a few months ago, the first Biden and Trump debate, I wanted to watch it with like a completely open mind of not knowing, like I'm not going to pick sides. I'm just going to go in and like really hear both sides out. And I remember because of that, I was like doing a lot of deep investigating on different political sides. And I started watching like the CNN and the Fox, like I started getting into both of it. And then after a while I was like, holy shit. Like first of all, what I would notice is that when I watched the Fox videos, I would get like hooked into their storyline. And then when I would watch the CNN videos, I would get hooked into their storyline. It's like both enticing and it makes me realize why people get so hooked onto their side, because I found it was easy to get hooked on either side.
Yeah, like my thing I like to do is it's like I check CNN. I literally just see the headlines. Sometimes I'll read what's going on. So I'll check CNN, and if it's something crazy against the right, I'll then check Fox News just to see how they ignore whatever's going on, and vice versa. It's like this. Yeah. If something's going on wrong on the right, read CNN, because they're just that's what they're going to talk about. But then go over and laugh at Fox News, and then vice versa. Like if something happened on the left, CNN's going to report about 5 other things, and then the left story is going to get buried, and then you go on Fox News, and that's their headline. It's just
they both have like the similar tactics that they use against each other. It's television. Like you're in entertainment. I in our ways, and they just want people to watch so they can mark up more for advertising, and it works because, like you just said, you find yourself, like, my dad's a Fox News guy. Yeah. And if when I lived with him, I don't necessarily like Fox News. I'm not a very political person. I know enough of what's going on. Yeah. But then you kind of just it's like they're all characters. So that was one of the things that's been irritating me lately, that I'm like, wait a second, I have no fucking clue like what's actually going on. And I put out a YouTube video recently on my YouTube that stated I have no idea I don't know who to vote for. I'm like, I have no idea who to vote for, because I'm realizing now that this whole time I've been like, quote unquote, paying attention to politics. I've just been paying attention to all the drama, and I don't know shit about the things that matter. Like, I don't know shit about war. I don't.
War's bad. Number one.
Well, I don't know about how do you deal with war? Do you become an ally, or do you completely remove yourself? Like those are things that I'm like, I don't even know. Like, I don't even know about this, or I don't know about taxes or tariffs. So I'm just like the woke culture and the cancel culture. I'm just like all
buzzwords.
I'm all about I'm paying attention to all these buzzwords and stuff, and I don't actually know shit about important policy stuff.
Yeah, I got into an argument with somebody once because they asked me who I was voting for the mayor of Philadelphia, and I wasn't registered to vote in Philly, so it was just like, I just said, I just want the candidate that gets kids a better education and they get fed. Yeah. And she was like, so you need to vote for such and such and blah blah blah, and I was like, okay. I'm just saying, like, that's my criteria for a candidate. Yeah. And they're like, yeah, but if you don't vote, and I'm like, oh, you asked me that because you wanted to prove a point about somebody. And that's another thing with politics, is like, people don't want to listen. They just want to talk about what they want. And I'm looking at her, I'm like, I am agreeing with, like, if this is the person that you're telling me, I will vote for them. Yeah. But also, like, you're talking about the federal stuff. The local stuff's more important I
started realizing that too, because when I started becoming one of my friends, I'm like jumping thoughts now. One of my friends who lives in town, he goes to the local county meetings. Like, you don't have to, or I don't even know if it's county. I think it's just because I think there's just one in this is called Fishtown, Philadelphia. There's one just right in Fishtown that he goes to, and it talks about like the local issues for like the
it's like your city councilman. So
it's the council. So I'm realizing now, if I feel completely powerless and unsure about things at a federal level, I can just deal with what's in front of me.
Yeah, I mean, where you're at in Fishtown, you go a few blocks in certain directions and you're in a whole other world.
Not that far at all.
Yeah. Like the horrors of the drug trade are not too far, and that's a local issue. That's something that we need to get
It's like local and federal all at the same time.
Yeah, but it starts at the local level, because it's local. It's not like the National Guard's not going to come in and move people out, but it's like, how do you deal with this here? Like what's going on, especially in like a city like Philly, is they're just trying to push things far away and not help right now. So it's a weird.
Do you know like what they're trying to do with like the homeless / drug?
They want to move it, right? Like from what I understand, and I'm not. Some of this could be bullshit, and I think I know what I'm saying, but basically, like Kensington and Allegheny is the big open drug trade in Philadelphia, and drug market. And what's happening is they're starting to move that back, and they're moving it to a different thing. If people don't know what I'm talking about, if you ever watch The Wire, it would be what Amsterdam is in The Wire, where they just pretty much put all the drug area into one location, and then they figured the rest of the city will be fine, like because it's all over there. But now they're starting to push that back, and what's happening is a lot of the businesses and a lot of the homes that are around there, the property value has dropped so far because of the drug trade that now private equity is coming in. I said equity, like I know what I'm talking about. Private business is coming in and buying up all these land, all those buildings, and they're just going to turn it into like apartments. Yeah. So then there's like this theory of the city let that happen. Now they're pushing it back, and it's just going to be another neighborhood's problem. It's just going to be another, because they're not getting rid of the problem, they're just pushing it to a different location. And that's, and they're not trying to help people as much as they're trying to make certain areas look better. So
if there was a way to help people like that, what would be like, are there any, I'm not saying like you have the solution, but have you ever heard of any potential solutions like in regards to,
I mean, with any addiction, it comes down to the person, right? There's some people that don't want to give it up. There's some people who do like that lifestyle. As crazy as that sounds, like when you see a person on heroin, nodding, it's off-putting to you, but that person's having the best day. You know, like it's weird, but until they want to get off of it, there's really not much you can do. And
we can't just kill people, so it's like
I mean, they did that in the Philippines. I think Duarte, he killed all like drug dealers and drug addicts. He was just zero tolerance with drugs and shit, and we can't do that. I don't know what the answer is, but
it's like, do we need to just have like drug communities? I mean, I guess that's kind of what it is. Like,
I mean, there's like exactly one thing you can do is you can have either injection sites. Not that I don't know if I agree or disagree with them because I don't know much about it. Like how I said earlier, like I grew up in the drug trade. I was raised by my dad's girlfriend who was like a pill person. But like as a kid, I saw all of that in person at like 7, 8, 9 years old. And for me, that was the best education I ever had because I saw the horrors of it, like where like it takes your kids away, it takes your soul with the, it does all that. But and like my dad's girlfriend never wanted to get help. She liked getting fucked up more than she liked, being sober, because who knows what happened. But it's like, you need to help. You need to find a way to help. Clean injection sites or handing out needles, and so that it like lowers the cause of infection and things like that. I don't know what it is, but just moving it to a different location's not.
I don't see how anybody could like it now, because apparently the fentanyl is now progressing to animal tranquilizer. Are you worried about that?
No.
So the people who want, the people just want heroin. They want heroin. The heroin became fentanyl. That was okay for them, but it's much riskier. Now the fentanyl is becoming animal tranquilizer. Like they actually call it tranq. I watched like documentaries on this too.
Isn't ketamine a tranquilizer?
I'm not sure.
I don't know. I've never.
But I know that. Speaking of animals, I didn't realize my cat's right there on the couch. The heroin fentanyl is now animal tranquilizer, and it's causing them to. Apparently, the high doesn't feel that good to them anymore, and it's causing basically their limbs to like their flesh.
That's rotting. I know what you're talking about.
Their flesh to completely
rot. I saw a documentary
away. And it's crazy because it's like it's a
zombie apocalypse.
I don't even think they even like it. Like what you're saying is true. Like some people just like heroin or even fentanyl. Some people like fentanyl.
Oh, I mean, I could talk about with drinking. Like I didn't necessarily like the things. I didn't like any of the stuff I was drinking. It was the ends to the means, or means to the end, right? Like, so people, again, it's also a price thing. And the weird thing about heroin and those drugs is the best thing that can happen for a drug dealer is somebody dies on it, because it means it's good. Like that's that. You want to talk about morality, and how I said I could,
or like working for certain jobs, like moral, like being a drug dealer, right?
Yeah, like I mean, I don't judge. I know new drug dealers. I don't know anymore. But like growing up in it, like the drug dealer that my dad's girlfriend would go to was actually like a mother figure to me. Like she was very kind to me. Like I used to swim in her pool, her above ground pool in Southwest Philly. And then I had an ear infection once as a kid, and she like had amoxicillin because people get infections. So at our house from shooting up, and well, that's a crazy sentence to say, actually, now I think about it. But yeah, like she gave me amoxicillin for an ear infection. Yeah. So like this woman like genuinely took more care of me than the women that were supposed to up until that point. So it's like I can see the humanity in those. I don't want to say those people and dealers, but there are some that are just stone cold killers, and they just want the money. But things have to happen along the way to get you to that point.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah.
What was like how do you think that experience changed like who you became?
I never did anything hard. Like I've taken Adderall a handful of times, but I've never growing up, my friends got into perks and Xannies. Because I knew what that did. Like I mean, I could talk about it now because I'm in a better place, and I understand the why of everything for the most part. But it's like, it showed me again what it all takes away. And I didn't grow up in the glamorized drug thing. Like I grew up it was pills. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you just see like people strung out. Just a nice little frail ginger just sitting in some random living room seeing that happening. But I was never hurt. No one ever did anything to me. Like I was kind of like, I think people just felt bad when they saw me.
Yeah.
And but I in turn just learned I don't want anything to do with that. So I never still to this day, like I have a big thing with, I don't judge anybody for what they do.
Yeah.
But I couldn't look at myself if I ever did, because I understand it all. I know how much it like affected my family too. So
it's interesting how the drinking kind of snuck up on you, because I'm sure in your mind you didn't think of it as a drug, really.
Oh yeah, it didn't sneak up. It just punched me right in the face. Like it was from the first time I drank. It was, you just get fucked up. Drinking in the basement of a friend's house. So yeah, and you drink as fast as possible because you don't know. One, you want to make sure you get your money's worth of beer. Yeah. And then two, like you want to get drunk before the cops get there. So yeah. I never learned how to pace. But yeah, when I learned later, like it's weird watching like when parents post videos like having their kids do cheerses and stuff. I'm like,
oh yeah.
Would you like post a video of your kid smoking a cigarette? Like it's like kind of the same. I shouldn't say smoking a cigarette, but like smoking a fake joint or like shooting up a fake needle. Like that's what alcohol does to people, to some people. It's not everyone, but it's like that being so not drinking now, that's a weird thing to see. So yeah.
Let me make sure I don't keep you hostage. Okay, so we still have a little time. I have a few more questions on here about the documentary. This feels so out of place now because we just got into a big drug rant, but I have 2 more questions for you. All right, back to the cheating thing. If somebody cheated on you, if you were in a relationship and a girl cheated on you, but she only did it one time.
Kick rocks.
What's that?
Get the fuck out.
If she did it only one time and then it was a big mistake, would it be... All right.
Sorry.
You're jumping the gun. Like, let me rephrase the question. If you cheated on somebody, because you never know, if you cheated on somebody and it was a mistake and you did it one time and you knew you fucked up and you knew you never would do it again, would it be better to tell the person, or would it be more harmful to tell them or to not tell them?
Funny you say that.
Why?
I didn't cheat. I didn't cheat. I dated this girl for 3 years. It was a very rocky relationship, to say the least. I won't get into details because, it was rough.
Okay.
And we like broke up I broke up with her for like a week and a half. And within a week, I hooked up with somebody.
Okay.
So then my ex and I start feeling bad. I miss my ex, and then I get back with her like an idiot, because we would just argue all the time. Like I was not recognizing I was an alcoholic at the time. I was also a really bad gambling addict, very insecure, just constantly like, and she was very insecure. She had her issues as well. And, our family dynamics were not easy. And, so I got back with her, and then I had to tell her what happened.
I don't think you did.
I did. Like because I'm a very honest person. I don't like lying to people. I know when to lie. Like I know, you know, a white lie and stuff like that. But as far as actual life, I try not to. And my biggest fear was somebody else would tell her. And then, so it's like that ticking time bomb that like, it's going to come out at some point.
Yeah.
So I better be the one who tells her.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah, but I should have shut the fuck up. That was rough. Yeah.
I think that you didn't. That's a tough one because I see what you're saying. But I think in that situation, you may have not had to tell her because you didn't technically do anything wrong.
Yeah.
You're broken up.
Yeah. But if
I think that might have been I think in my opinion, that might be the only case where it's more harmful to tell. Because
it was bad.
Because you told her for you, not for her. You told her so that you didn't have a guilty conscience.
Don't throw that back on me. All right. I don't
want to make you feel bad about it. But
no, but it was also, I should never have gotten back with her. That's like the number one thing, right? Well, that's like a whole other thing, yeah. But she's flipped out, and deservedly so. Like I whatever. It's years from that. Like that's years ago. Yeah. But it was like, if I were to cheat on somebody now, like dating now, right? Like I've been on dates in the past probably like 4 months.
Yeah.
And then I get into this, like I really like this person. But I was always the guy in the past where, like, if I went on a date with somebody I really liked them, it's like, you're going to be my girlfriend. Like
you just, when you figure it out, you seal the deal.
Because I didn't know, like I didn't have options, and so like it's like this is what I have, so I'm gonna. And that was one of those relationships. We jumped right into everything, and everything was too fast, too soon. And then, but now dating, I still have that like, oh, this person went out with me, so I owe them this, or like I owe them more time. And it's like, no, but I didn't really enjoy myself on the date. I have this other date that I could go on, and then I feel weird because I'm like, I'm navigating new waters. Like I've never.
Oh, dude, I am too. Yeah. Like so that's why I'm not even dating right now with anybody, because I'm like, I would jump into things too fast with people. And I realized like I didn't really make that many conscious decisions about like who I would date and why I would date them. And I like, even the word dating, like I don't even know what that word means, because people tell me like about dates, like the way you're talking about it, they're like, yeah, I went out with like multiple people to try out my options. I'm like, wait, you could do that? Like I thought, I didn't know you could do that. I thought you just had to go. So now I'm like literally working with an advisor. Like I have like someone who's like working with me to like teach me how to date properly. And she's like, yeah, you have to like have a list of things that you have
those.
What's that?
They have advice.
It's not.
I'm just winging it.
So, okay. Actually, this is going to be so speaking of 12-step programs, I said advisor because like the actual thing is a little embarrassing, but I've talked about it on my, podcast before, and actually I think it's good for people to know in case.
I'm not judging. I'm genuinely.
It's a 12-step program. It's called Sex and Love Addicts Anonymous. I'm not a sex addict, but I was a quote unquote love addict in the sense that I would do what I just said. Yeah. That I would like meet somebody, fall in love, and just like date with them. Here I am, 36 years old, and like I don't know what dating even means. Like that's not normal. Like so, you had a negative relationship with alcohol. Dating was relationships were my drug, in the sense that I had this like repetitive cycle of like just.
Yeah. How many like boyfriends did your family meet? Because I was that guy where it was like, we're 2 months in, you need to meet everybody. My family has met a lot of different boyfriends, to the point where I actually, like every summer, my family goes to New Hampshire.
And I used to bring my boyfriends to New Hampshire. And after a while, I stopped bringing them because I'm like, I don't want to bring another one that's just not going to come next year. It's embarrassing. It's humiliating.
That was me with Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Like, it's embarrassing. Like, I'm the only one in my family who's not married. But then I actually, like, I don't want to get into a side tangent, but I'm just going to say this really quick. But now I have a hot take about that because I'm starting to, and this is no shade to anyone in my family, just like everybody in society. I have a hot take that I'm like, but all my friends and family and everybody I know is going through a divorce. So like maybe I was like on point to not get married ever. But anyways, that could also just be an excuse, like, cause I'm humiliated about my behaviors.
Nah, I mean, you're also where you're supposed to be right now. Like that, like at the end of the day.
What I'm saying is like, there's no right or wrong path because like you could have a great marriage. Like that happens sometimes too. I could have gotten married, but then I could have been miserable. So it's like, I'm not, even though it's embarrassing to have been through so many relationships, I'm also not ashamed of it because like no path is certain.
Yeah, I know what I don't want now.
Exactly.
Like that's what that really did was now I know I'm like, I don't like this type of person.
Yeah.
Where I would force myself to like somebody and like you would see through all their flaws and pull the two good things that they had, the two good qualities that you thought they had. And then when those qualities run out, you're like, oh shit, I'm stuck. Like, and then there's that, like, it's hard to break up with people because familiarity and then it always goes too long. And
exactly. Yeah. So like going back to the 12-step thing. So there's this 12-step program called Sex and Love Addicts Anonymous. It's not black and white, but typically you see the men in the program are like porn addicts and like escort prostitute addicts, like, and then usually the women in the program are like women like me that like just can't get love right, like they just keep jumping from relationship to relationship. I've seen crossovers. I've seen men who act more the quote unquote feminine version of that, and I've seen women who act more quote unquote the masculine version of that. I have a sponsor who won't let me date like so like an alcohol I
have a friend who just went through that.
So my sponsor, she's right now actively writing a dating plan for me. And she's been through the program and she's now in a healthy relationship. And she went through years of sobriety where you don't date. You like learn to be alone so that you learn who you are. You learn what you want. Because that's another thing. I've been in relationships since I was like 15. Like I've barely been single my whole life. I'm 36 years old. So it's like, I don't even know who I am. I don't even know what I want. I don't even know if I want kids. There's like, this is like this, the craziness of like having this, I don't know if it's a love addiction, if it's a real addiction, but this problem, I guess you could say, I would jump in different relationships and I would be a different I'd be this with this guy. I'd be like, I want to have kids because you want them. And then I'd be with this guy. Well, you don't want them. So I don't want to, like, it was whatever you want. I'll do that.
Yeah. I'm very much that. I want to be
sounds like you need the program.
I mean, you could hear from just the story of being raised by my dad's girlfriend. Like I need to, when I'm in a relationship, I need you to need me. Right. Like that's the way it was. Now I'm like, I don't care. Like if you don't want to hang out, it's fine. But like back in the day, it was like, no, I need to do whatever I can so that I like to the point where you're almost dependent on me. Yeah. When really all I had to do was just be myself. Like and I never knew that. Like I'm a people pleaser. Working in restaurants and stuff. So it's one of those things where like I remember I tried to take a job doing door-to-door fucking sales, whatever that, like it was basically a pyramid scheme. Yeah. But I'm not made for that stuff. And I tried to do that because my ex's family didn't like that I worked in bars and this and that. And it's like, but this bar is actually really paying me. And I left good jobs to make other people happy. And it just would make myself miserable. Yeah. But my buddy said, one of my friends one time, I was like, meeting up with some girl or whatnot, and I said one of her hobbies, and my buddy looked to everybody else and he's like, and tomorrow Dave will know everything about what that is. And it's like, because I want to know, well, one, I'm interested in what people are interested in, and I'll look it up, but then like I start finding my ways into enjoying it. And
I completely lose myself in relationships. Like with my last boyfriend, he wasn't a health person at all. Mm-hmm. when I dated him, I like gained a bunch of weight. I started eating like McDonald's and stuff because that's what he liked. And I was just like, he was a video gamer. I started like gaming with him. Like, I mean, here's the thing. Video games can be fun. But the point is like, I let myself go, like who I was completely, just to make sure that he and I had quality time together. And I'm like, wait a second, like, why aren't you doing the things that I want to do? Like, why am I not that he never did the things that I wanted to do, but I would say it was like 80% of the time I was like shape shifting myself.
Yeah, and he wasn't even making you do it, right? Like,
no, he wasn't making me do it. I was just like, whatever it is to bond with you. Like, I'll do whatever it takes to bond with you. And I want to say he wasn't doing it back, but it wasn't his job to do it back. I was the one doing it. Like he didn't make me do that. Yeah.
Yeah. I've also found myself now, like, with dating women, like when they try to impress me, I'm like, calm the fuck down. Like, because I'm still inherently like that guy on the inside. And I'm like, oh, this is probably how women have felt. Like, you don't have to do all this. Like, you don't have to this or that, because I'm very much like, I don't need anything. I don't need gifts. I don't need you to, like, I just, when I'm with somebody, it's like the person is what I enjoy, not the things. It's like, I don't know, it's hard, I don't know how to say that properly, but I don't like material things as much as I enjoy.
They say there's like quote unquote love languages. Have you ever heard of that theory? There's like love language, there's like gifts, so you're not gifts then.
No.
There's touch. Oh no, quality time. There's quality. I don't remember what they are, but they're like quality time, gifts,
words of affirmation,
acts of service.
Yeah.
And then there's a fifth one, but I can't remember.
I think it's touch.
Is it physical
touch?
Yeah,
I think it is physical touch.
One of my boyfriends, I asked one of my ex-boyfriends, I'm like, which one am I? He said all of them.
Yeah. No, I'm like, I need a hug. That's my thing. Like, your boy just needs a hug at the end of the day.
Probably quality time and touch are my two favorites, but the other ones are good too.
Words of affirmation, I need that. I need you to tell me I'm doing okay.
Yeah.
And like and I feel bad for my friends because I'll text them like, is everything? I'm like, we're good. But it's like a constant check-in, and it sucks, but
I don't want to call you out, but in the beginning of the podcast, I sensed that you were nervous, and I had to like, I sensed that I had to like give you words of affirmation. I was like, "You're doing good."
Yeah, no, yeah, because I overthink everything until it starts. It's like, it goes with stand-up, it goes with anything I do. It's like, what are all the things that can go wrong? Because if you think of all the things that can go wrong, then if they don't happen, you're like, everything's fine.
Yeah.
And that's with everybody. And like, I tell people when I start becoming friends with them, like, there's going to be a time we just won't talk.
Yeah.
And it's like, because I think you're tired of me, so I just go away.
Right.
Yeah. I think I just did that today. I kind of like, I looked at my phone. I'm like, I haven't responded to any text message. So. But it's not that I'm mad at people. Most of the time I don't talk to people. It's because I'm like, oh, they hate me. There's something up. So.
It's interesting though, with like this 12-step program, I'm in step 11 now. So I'm not done with all the 12 steps, but I'm like almost done with it. I'm pretty much almost done with step 11. I'm about to enter step 12 really soon. It really worked. Like I know that's not your thing. You didn't do it for alcohol, but I feel like a completely different person, like, because I was literally not forced, but like I was guided by my sponsor to like get to know myself. And she taught me.
How long have you been doing it for?
Like over a year now.
Okay.
Yeah. And like, it's just been like a lot of journaling, a lot of,
I love a good journal.
Yeah. It's just been like a lot of like healing, that type of stuff. Getting to know myself, processing emotions, like that type of stuff.
Yeah. You have to be comfortable with being alone before you can, you have to be with yourself.
That's what it is.
Because you have to face everything.
That's what it is. The whole program is teaching you to like love. It sounds like gay. It sounds gay, but it's like to love yourself, like to be okay. And it actually is true, because now I know when I go back out there, I've learned how to love myself, because being in a relationship doesn't guarantee shit. They could die. Like, you know what I mean? Like you can meet the love of your life.
I say that to people all the time. Like, they'll be like, I'll see you. So I'm like, I could die tomorrow. And they're like, don't say that. I'm like, but you have to realize that. Like, like that's a big part of this. Like, if you don't think that if you think you're going to see that person every day, the day that comes that you don't, it's going to hit a little harder.
Like there's no, that's what I was like saying before, where I'm like, I don't feel shame for being single. I wasn't necessarily shaming my like people, my friends and family in marriages, I'm saying like, oh, like no matter where you are, what you do, you have to learn the lesson of like learning how to be okay alone, whether you're in a marriage or not. Like you have to learn that either way.
And also too, like that's their life. Like you can like the things. So yeah, they're married, right? And so like, but they got to deal with like their bills, their kids, like someone sick, like the marriage isn't going well. So it's like, even just because someone's in that relationship, they have that job, they have this, it still has its headaches. Like you're just, you have your own that you have to
like
go through.
Like my own.
Yeah. Like I lived alone for a year when I had COVID, and COVID kind of triggered this year-long depression. But it was the first time in my life I'd ever lived alone. How
was that experience for you?
Now, great.
Do you live alone now? Or?
No, I don't. Yeah. I have 2 roommates now. But I lived in South Philly years ago by myself, had this great apartment. I like won a bunch of money gambling and got an apartment, spent all the money, didn't have enough to afford it really, traveling back and forth for work, not doing stand up. And I caught COVID and just was alone alone. And I remember being like, oh, I have to face all of this shit. Yeah. Later in life, like later on,
the casinos are closed. Like,
casinos were not closed.
Oh, no, they were.
They don't close. They're always open. No, I won online. That was the worst thing about it.
Oh, that's even worse.
Yeah, but it was one of those things. Looking back at it now, I had to face myself for the first time. Like I had to literally, I had to do things literally for me. And I didn't keep up with my apartment. It was a mess. Like I had to like throw cutlery and plates away because I just left them in the sink, and then it just got real dirty. Like I was just depressed. Like I couldn't do. My bed was in the living room. I had a bed on the floor, a dining room table, and a futon. Yeah. And my television was on a chair. Yeah. Like it was bare bones, and it was like, now that I think about it, I had to go through that. I had to learn a lot. I learned a lot about who I was. I faced a lot of shit that I put off for a long time. Really found out who my friends are. Not in like, oh, this person didn't care. Like the people who were like, what's going on? Like the ones who really stood by me. Like I loved more after that, because I never wanted to be lonely. I could be alone, but I never like that sense of like no one wants me around. And it was a year of that. And then my dad got sick. It's going to sound bad, thankfully, in a weird way. And I had to take care of him. And it was through having to take care of my father that I like picked it back up, where I was like, oh, I'm not meant to be insular by myself in my head. Yes, I like my alone time, but I'm here for other people. Like I'm here to literally, that's why I do stand up. It's like, I want to make you laugh so your day's a little bit better. Yeah. But yeah, it wasn't until I had to like take care of my dad that I was like,
in the 12-step program, they teach you acts of service. Yeah. They teach you that acts of service are part of healing. So even though you didn't go, it's funny, it's like the universe gave you the 12-step program without actually having it, because you learned about how to be alone, how to face yourself. Yeah. That's something you have to deal with. And then you learned that you can heal through acts of service. So you learned that by helping your father heal, it was removing yourself and making him the priority. And then you transferred that to stand-up comedian, and you were able to see your hobby or like potential future career as a stand-up comedian, a way to like use acts of service.
Like with my dad, it was like when I would write about him before doing stand-up, before he got sick, I was always mean because like we didn't get along. But it was in those 6 months being with him and helping him. And to be fair, the only reason why I was helping, I was logistically the closest person to him. Yeah. My siblings are all married and stuff. Yeah. But it also was like, I knew winter was coming and I couldn't afford heat in my apartment. So it was like, I needed that necessity. But when I was helping him, I was like, oh, I got a new perspective of who this man is. And we're great. Like I was with him yesterday for his birthday. Like we're really close. And since I quit drinking, then we became closer. So yeah, it was just, being alone is not a bad thing, but being lonely, I don't like. I don't like that sense of I can't talk to people. But I'm also learning. I probably need to stop talking to, like, being on a dating app and stuff like that, talking to people where I'm like, it's not going to lead to anything. I just like talking. It's probably why I should do more podcasts with people.
That's funny. Yeah. Is this like, have you done a lot of podcasts?
I did one last night. This is like,
really?
Yeah.
You're on a roll.
I'm not, it's all happenstance. Like I answered your thing and then, 2 comics, Declan Brooks and Adamus, they do a podcast and they do it down the street from my dad's house. I happen to be at my dad's house for his birthday. So I was like, I can just walk right down. So yeah, it just all worked out.
So his birthday was yesterday?
Yeah, my dad.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, my dad and my brother. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
Yeah,
all like came full circle.
It's a little 76-year-old birthday for my dad, 54 for my brother.
Oh,
so,
wow.
Yeah. I'm the baby by a lot.
Yeah. I was going to say that's definitely, it's kind of, it all tied back to the Ashley Madison thing when we were talking about
because
like
my dad cheated on me.
No. Because I'm keeping the theme going here, the Ashley Madison theme, because we were talking about how you and I both had experience like needing to learn how to be alone, and it made me realize that addiction everybody existing is suffering with addiction in some form, and for some people it could be gambling, for some people it could be drugs, for some people it could be alcohol, for some people it could be the Ashley Madison website sex scandal, for some people it could be jumping from relationship to relationship, but it seems to all stem from that place of not being able to face yourself. Like it's like a universal human experience, you know?
You gotta let go. Like it's for as cliche as all those things are, right? Like let go, you're where you're supposed to be. Like it's like true. It's true. Like I journal, and for a long time I would write "take control" at the end, right? And I would have this like little mantra, right? Yeah. And then it got to a point when I was living alone and by myself where I was like, "Oh, this is what happens when you like." I thought living alone, I was in control of everything, and and it was like, no, you gotta take it, like understand and surrender, to whatever you're feeling. If you gotta cry. If you're happy, be happy. Like if you're sad, you just gotta let it. It's gonna pass. You know.
That's like what you were saying before with like the alcohol issues that you had. It was because the anxiety was overwhelming, and now you're learning how to like process those things you were scared to process.
Yeah, I'm not as. I mean, I have anxiety, but I don't have it like I did when I was drinking. And I think there's been a drastic change just in the past few months, where I'm going on dates and I'm not nervous or doing stand up, and I'm like, well, I'm here. You know, like where I used to get so fucking nervous and scared. And with dates, I would have like 2 drinks before I would go just to feel like numb, I guess you could say. Yeah. And then I went on a date with a girl one time where I didn't have enough money to pay for it. Because I kept ordering drinks. And then I was like, oh, I don't.
So you couldn't pay for your own half even?
No, she paid for it. Yeah.
I would be pretty pissed off if I was her.
Yeah, I'm charming. Like if it's in that like, and we were dating, so it was like this.
Oh, you were boyfriend and girlfriend already?
Yeah, but not. It was about to happen. Yeah. Horrible. Yeah. I remember. I feel I'm embarrassed by it now, and I was embarrassed when it was going on, but that was a moment where I was like, oh, this person likes me. Because she didn't chastise me or anything like that. She was like, I get it. And I was like,
I think if it was like the first date and that happened, I'd be like, I'm walking out. Like you're like if it was like the first date, you and I like if we went on a date and just met and you like, it was like, oh, I don't have any money for even myself. You have to pay for me. I'd be like, I'm walking out, and then the waiter's going to get your credit card number. But like,
oh, you're going to hate me then.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I've let people know I'm broke. Like I can't.
I mean, if you let them know from the get go,
I've been getting free dinners for not all the time, but like I'm like, this is weird. I'm getting wined and dined. So girls are
like, okay, I'll pay for it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's different. If you tell them from the get go and they pay, that's
I'm very honest about it.
That's a totally different story. Yeah. But if I was on a date with a guy for the first time and I had no idea that, and then at the end they were like, oh, I can't pay for either of us.
Oh, yeah, that one's shitty.
I'd be like, what the fuck? I'd be like, well, I'm paying for myself and the rest is on you. But if I was dating a guy for like a while and I knew him and I liked him, and that happened one time, I'd be like, oh, I get it this time.
I'm a train wreck with money. They pretty much know. Like, I mean, when I can afford things, I do things, but I grew up poor, so I know how to do cheap things too.
Yeah.
But now not drinking, I don't pay.
So, okay, I don't want to hound you, but you've talked about it with the money stuff. What do you think stops you from like being financially secure now?
Well, so I worked in restaurants, right? I had my last day working in one yesterday.
Yeah.
Having cash in hand, it's just hand to like
you don't feel like you're responsible with the money?
No, I'm not. I didn't learn learn financial responsibility because we grew up poor. We were on welfare.
Yeah.
Kind of like if you have it, you spend it.
Yeah.
But in a nutshell, here's how my gambling addiction and all that stuff starts is I went to a horse track with my grandfather.
Yeah.
He gave me $50 and he goes, do you know what to do with this? And I was like, yeah, I'm going to play the ponies. And he looks at me and he goes, you don't get fucking buried with it. Spend every dime. And that was my financial advice at 17 years old.
So it kind of stuck with you.
But I love my grandfather. Like that's just the way he grew up during the Depression when the banks, lost everyone's money, and so I get it now. But now that I'm gonna have a job with an hourly rate and it's paid get paid every 2 weeks, that's different. Like I keep telling myself that, but I think it's going to be easier to not spend, especially I'm going to be working at like Trader Joe's, so like there's things like I won't have to do food and like as much. But yeah, it's working in the restaurant industry. It's everything about you have like I would, no matter how much, like if I have cash, I'm gonna find a way to spend it no matter what. It's weird. I've spent every dime I've ever earned.
Yeah. Cash is, I know what you mean with that, with the restaurant business, because when I worked in the restaurant business, I found that like when I had cash in hand, I would just like go out to the bar and drink with my friends. Now I haven't worked in the restaurant industry for a while, so I can't relate to that anymore. I actually hate cash now. I find it annoying because like I just prefer paying with things like in like online and everything like that, or like debit card or whatever. I'm like who? My cat's like, I'm like, who uses cash anymore? It's so outdated. But I guess some people actually
poor servers in the restaurant business. Yeah. We do. Cash is king. No, it's I like cash because I can see it. Yeah, it's real. Yeah, the other stuff, it's just a number. Yeah, and that's the other thing is like when I have money in the bank, which is who knows when that's ever gonna happen again. But it's like I can fix like a number where I'm like, I won't go below this. And there are times I'm pretty good with it, but not lately. No. But I moved. I had a lot of different things happen at the same time. They
do have Debtors Anonymous 12-step programs too.
I have a brother-in-law who's a financial advisor who like is like we're going to have a sit down soon and he's going to go over it.
Yeah, I think you need...
I just need to know what money does. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't understand. People are like, oh, you got to invest in this. And I'm like, first off, I don't know what that is. I don't know how real estate works. I just didn't grow up in it. And I'm very ignorant to a lot of it where I'm like, if I don't know what it is, I'm not going to deal with it. But like, I don't know what, like people are like, bonds and shit like.
Yeah, but I still feel like even if you don't know about like investments, you probably could still get some guidance on how to just manage your budget. Like you don't have to know about investments and bonds to like, because you're saying like, like your everyday, like weekly, your monthly budget, you probably could do better with, right?
Well, it's like with drinking, right? I quit drinking because I got tired of the outcome, and now it's like with money, it's like I'm tired of being broke. Like I'm tired of it. Like it's funny to talk about on stage and this and that, but it's like the everyday of it is. It's fine now. Like I'm in a different place, but it's like, God damn it, dude! You're 36 years old. You should be able to afford to go on a vacation. You're single, no kids, all that stuff. So it's like,
do you have like student loan debt or something?
No, I was in the Navy. I don't know. I have my debts in comparison to normal people are minuscule. It's just.
Then you're actually like ahead of a lot of people because if you don't have any debt, you just need to make more money, really.
Yeah, I just don't have spending. I don't have. Yeah, it's fine. But it's like I grew up poor. I'm used to it. I'm used to that. And
all right, so I don't want to be too like I'm telling you advice. You can tell me to shut up. You could be like, oh, you're fine. Shut your mouth. I think that poor can be like a mentality. I know this is. I don't know if you've heard this. but I didn't grow up necessarily poor, but I didn't necessarily grow up privileged either. So I struggled with money a lot, like growing up and as an adult. And I eventually got to a point where I just stopped saying the words "I'm broke." Like I just stopped saying it.
I don't say it. Yeah. Like I'm just usually like, I'm just used to it.
Yeah, but I got like, I used to catch myself being like, oh, I'm used to like stuff like that. And then I was like, wait, in order for this to change, I have to change my mentality about
Oh
it.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And like change the language around it.
Yeah.
So like I used to say things like, I wish I could get that, but I can't afford it. And now I'm like, I don't even say that anymore. Cause I'm like that, like, I feel like if I just kind of speak the language now of fixing my financial situation, that it kind of, not to get all like, ooh, but like it kind of literally manifests that reality.
Yeah.
Like, cause when I change the language, I start behaving differently as a result of that. If that makes
it's
sense.
like the idea of when you're down on yourself and like you're like, you piece of shit, you're this or that. It's like, no, it's once you start being like, okay, well, it's like when you start loving yourself and being like, you're not a piece of shit. You just, something happened. And it's like you're rewiring some type of circuitry in the brain to do it. I get that. Yeah. I'm at a point where I'm like, I don't want to keep getting by.
Yeah.
And it's finally to the point where I've said it in the past. This is at the point. It's now. I don't have a fucking cell phone right now.
Yeah.
So it's like I can't call my dad to just say hi.
Yeah.
It's funny to joke about, but the core of it is like I am frustrated with it, but I can let it eat me alive, or I could just be like, okay, you don't like this feeling anymore. So what do? We got to take the next step.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I think probably the new job will probably be good for that. You know?
Oh yeah,
like
Trader Joe's. It's going to be a blast.
Trader Joe's. It's going to be a blast.
It's going to be awesome.
Okay, I know you have to get out of here, so I only have one more question to wrap up the podcast. Do you believe in karma?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you have? And then the follow-up question is: do you have any real life example of karma you've experienced? If you believe it.
I don't know if I can, off the top of my head, I might not be able to think of that, but I'm very big on I was writing about this the other day. The love you're able to put in the world is the love you deserve back. Now, are you necessarily going to get it? No, because there's very good people who get shit all the time. Yeah. But if you don't put X amount of love into it, like you're not going to get it back. Like you're not going to get the returns that you think you are. There's a lot of bad people that get accolades and then it comes back later, you know, like
well, that's where like with sticking with the theme of that, the people who went on the website, eventually there was a data breach.
Yeah.
So like people were like, that's karma, dude. Like karma caught up with you. Have you ever had a situation where you did something shitty and then karma caught up to you and you're like, fuck, that was my lesson?
Yeah. Again, off the top of my head, I can't, but I have these episodes like working in a restaurant where I'm like a dick. I'm very hard to work with because it's like,
really?
Just do your job in the restaurant business. Yeah. Because if like the busser doesn't do his job, the table doesn't get reset, the new people don't sit down, I don't make more money. And I just would get like frustrated with people and like be a cunt to, sorry if that's not the right word, but like just I like snapped at a 15-year-old kid, a busboy, just 15-year-old kid. But I was broke. I wasn't making money that day, and he just kept fucking around. I was like, just shut the fuck up, dude. You do your job. Like you're not good at your job, so just do it. 2 seconds later, just ringing a whole order wrong, and it's like, yeah, maybe if I turn around and was like, hey man, like if you got to be off your phone, and you know we have a job to do. And if I was able to explain it like an adult and not a child that's frustrated at a child, I wouldn't have went into that order. In the anger, in the space that I was in, I wouldn't have made the mistake. I wouldn't have, had to
it's
pay
like
for it later.
The energy's infectious. It spreads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I've learned that like the nicer I am, the easier I am to talking to people I work with, the more they're going to want to listen. But I have a hard time watching lazy people. Like it, especially in the restaurant business, because it's dependent. Your money's dependent on them. Where I'm like, dude, I'm paying you to do your job. But I also grew up in a restaurant business where like people were doing blow in the back, and you know, people were fist fighting, and like dishwashers walking out, like people having plates thrown at their head, getting threatened to be stabbed, just wild shit. It was the Wild West when I first got in it. So I'm also from that era, so I'm in like this weird hybrid of I want to throw a plate at your head, but I also want to love you. Like, and telling you to shut up is probably the best thing for me. But then, yeah, you just turn around and you fuck up right after. But
that was like I feel like the 12, I feel like I'm in a cult now. I keep like referencing the 12-step program, but step 4 of the 12-step program is all about letting go of resentments. Wait, is it 12? Is it step 4? It could be step 6. I can't remember which exactly step it is now. But one of the steps is about learning to take like radical responsibility of your moods and letting go of resentments towards anybody. And like some people drop out of the program because they get pissed off at this part. They're like, you mean I have to forgive the person who raped me? It's like, you know what I mean? And it's like, no, you don't have to forgive that person. You just have to like radically accept that you can't control anybody's behavior but your own. And like, that was like a game changer for me, is like letting go of anger towards anyone. And like, it started with small things, like not getting mad at people who are assholes on the road, like traffic and like that type of stuff. And I'm like, it kind of, for me, it started there. I'm like, oh, I don't have to be mad about this person who just like drove like an asshole.
I mean, I might do this 12-step program so I don't have road rage anymore.
So what?
Yeah, so I don't have road rage. Even though I don't drive often, I have a lot of it. Yeah, there's a quote, I think it's Marcus Aurelius, who said, I'm going to paraphrase it because I'm not going to say it correctly, but you can't control what happens. You can only control how you react to it.
That's exactly it.
That's the end of at the end of the day, it's like, and it's in that reaction that is going to, in some situations, it's going to linger for a long time, or in other ones it's not. But you have a split second to make your mind up of if you're going to be angry or passive about something, overly happy about something. I'm at a stage in my life where I'm just trying to be as even as possible. Yeah. Because I like, anytime I have a goal and I hit it, I get real hype, and then there's this down, like I reached the goal. What next?
I think that's normal.
Yeah. So now I'm just trying to be like, now I understand that feeling a little bit more, and it's like, yeah, I'm happy that it happened, but we're good.
It's like the dopamine.
Yeah, it's your brain's not producing dopamine levels at the rate that they were previously, and when you deplete your dopamine, it's a bitch to get back up. It just takes a little bit longer.
I actually heard a theory about this. I heard it. Do you know Andrew?
I have a high school education, by the way. I don't know. I don't know about dopamine.
Do you know Andrew Huberman?
That's who I learned it from.
That's so funny, because like, I'm sure if you're into comedy, you're probably into the Rogan world and like all his little sub people that. And I feel like Andrew Huberman was like one of Joe Rogan's guests, and then like he became really popular because of that. Andrew Huberman, I'm sure you already know about this, but the people listening, they should know about this too. He's a neuroscientist, and he talks about how there's a huge dopamine issue in society today, because he was explaining how and I'm paraphrasing. I'm like, I'm not sure if I'm getting all the terminology correct, but I'm going to try my best to express what he said. People have a dopamine issue now because a long time ago, dopamine was designed for things that took a while to chase for. So like hunting for your food, finding a sexual mate. These were all things that took time and energy. So it was like this big journey, and then you get the dopamine and then you rest. But now people have access to dopamine constantly. Because of that, that's why you have so much depression now, because people are wearing, like, if I've already watched a bunch of porn and like went on a bunch of apps and stuff, I've already used up that like reward. He calls it a reward system. I've used up all the energy I have for that reward system. And now the things that actually matter, I don't have the energy to do them. And that's where there's so much depression now. Yeah.
That makes total sense.
Yeah. I don't know if that relates to what you said though, because it sounds like you get that depression from actual like real things you worked for, it seems like.
No, my depression just comes, like I feel it coming, And then then I get in it, and then I don't know I'm in it until I'm starting to get out of it, and then I'm like, okay, all right. And that literally just happened like the past 2 weeks. I'm like out of this fog that I was in. Yeah. But no, it's there's a comedian, Greg Fitzsimmons, was talking about that when he did his first 5 minutes on Letterman. He was just ecstatic. Yeah. And then he was like, the depression that hit right afterwards was just like, but that helped learn. But yeah, I mean, I have it where if I'm talking to somebody, the instant they stop, respond, like there's a conversation that you're having with somebody and it's back and forth, you're not really waiting for the next text message. But as soon as that stops for like 5 minutes, I'm like, yeah, but I was just having a good time talking to you. Like, why? What just happened? Like, why are you not responding? And it's just a game like I play, and then I'm on like a different app trying to get attention somewhere else. And I think if anything, like I'm not a promiscuous person sexually as much as I like attention, but I don't like a lot. Like I like attention when I'm in control of it. Like when it's like I don't like attention for the bad reasons, I guess you could say. Or I don't like being the center of attention when people are saying like, he did this, and I'm like, negative shut the fuck up. Yeah. No. I mean like praise. Yeah. Where like you do something for somebody and then they're like, this guy did. That's like, nope, stop. Don't tell anybody. I don't want any of that. But I want attention, and like I want someone to just be interested in me enough to talk to me, I guess you could say. Mm-hmm. So I like that feeling. And I'm learning now, it's like I don't have to text you back immediately. Yeah. Like, but that's my abandonment issues. Is like, no, but I have to. If I don't, then they're not going to want to talk to me later, and this and that. And that's what I'm learning. That's my phone addiction, is getting back to people immediately, and always feeling like I have to do that when I can just put my phone away and not.
Is respond. It like validation stuff? Like you like the validation of like having people talk to you and stuff like that? Yeah, I feel
because I spent a lot of time as a kid alone, and like I was like, I wasn't really picked on. I shouldn't say that, but I was a frail redheaded kid in an all black neighborhood, so I was just an easy target. And you learn how to make fun of yourself, and that's what I learned. That's how I don't know. It's like I made fun of me before anybody else could, but but like talking to people, I genuinely enjoy it when it's on my terms. Now, if someone's trying to talk to me that I don't feel like talking to, I'll literally turn my back on you because I'm like, I don't have anything for you. And my friends get mad at me when I do that, but I'm like, I'm sorry. There's nothing I can say to you right now. And it's not a mean thing. It's like, that's a boundary I have. It's like, if I don't feel like talking, you gotta let me go.
The old Irish goodbye.
I'm horrible at those because every time I try, people are looking, and I'm like, and I'm a 6-foot redhead, so it's not like I just blend in. The only time I can pull an Irish goodbye is when I'm around Irish people. Like,
are you Irish? You look
100%. Yeah, I have the tattoo and everything. So yeah. I
was gonna say, speaking of Irish goodbyes, we should probably end the podcast so that you get to your open mic. But that's it, everybody. So again, not David Bowie, Davey Bo, stand-up comedian from Philadelphia. If you guys enjoyed what you heard today, I'll actually drop his Instagram link below. So if anybody like living in Philadelphia wants to see where he's doing his stuff, his comedy stuff. Again, if you liked what you heard today, please don't forget to hit subscribe to help me grow this channel. Have a good day, guys. Bye.